Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this video on network marketing. Now, this video is for purely informational purposes regarding this sector, so no specific company is sponsored, no product, nor is a training course being sold. So make yourselves comfortable and take in all the information in this video. Who is it for? To all the curious people who want to really understand what network marketing is, to all the people who are starting or have recently started network marketing, and immersing yourself in content is important. And to all those people, pay attention, who have been doing network marketing for a few years now and have already changed 3 or 4 companies. This video is also for you because it's clear that there's something fundamental you haven't understood, okay? Otherwise, you wouldn't have changed companies. Now, you'll see me looking around every now and then because I'm taking a walk with my dog in the park, and since I have quite a bit of free time, lately I'm making this video because there was really a great need for it. So, network marketing. Let's start right off by saying there's little information, and especially misinformation, because even the name isn't in Italian, right? We've adopted words into our vocabulary that aren't ours, and consequently, we don't know their meaning. Network marketing. Net. Work. Net means network, work means work. There's work to be done. We have to work by building a network, a commercial structure. Marketing. Marketing isn't advertising, you know? Marketing, market is market, ing is the action of doing market. So effectively, a product or service is put on the market. And while we do this, we build a commercial structure. It's very similar to franchising. It's what we already know. There's nothing new about it. The new thing is that everyone can do it because it's not like franchising. It's similar in concept, but there's no investment. In franchising, there's a lot of investment required. You get the shop, you get the fixtures and the machinery and the employees. There's a lot of commercial risk. And above all, there are the franchising companies that ask you, they have commercial obligations. So if you don't turn over what they say, they take away the brand. In real network marketing, it doesn't work like that. So that's why they say everyone can start it from zero. And let's explain this zero. Zero isn't zero, it's a few hundred euros. Sometimes it can reach a few thousand, but we're still talking about an entrepreneurial activity, okay? Consequently, we can't think the way an employee might think. The employee is doing a job and gets paid for their work. An entrepreneur, on the other hand, creates their own job. Consequently, they look for a business opportunity to build their wealth and their freedom. Right? So these are two completely different approaches. That's why they say you start from scratch. There's no business risk involved. You don't have to invest hundreds of thousands of euros in commercial facilities, okay? Now, let's get to a crucial point. Pyramid schemes and Ponzi schemes. Now guys, that stuff exists and it's illegal. Pyramid schemes and Ponzi schemes are real and they are illegal. If you do them, you'll go to jail. But we have to recognize them because if we don't, we risk falling for them. Okay? Because there's always that friend who, with all the enthusiasm in the world, invites us to a presentation for a fantastic business project. Our friend doesn't get it, and we don't get it either. And maybe, if we don't know the definitions or the characteristics of these systems, we fall right into it. Now, a pyramid scheme has nothing to do with an actual pyramid, okay? It's not called pyramid because if we draw it on a piece of paper, it has the structure of a pyramid. No. Otherwise, every single workplace would be a pyramid scheme. A pyramid scheme, now I'll give you the definition, not my point of view. There's no point of view here, guys. There's only knowledge and definitions. You can go check it yourselves. Ask an AI, ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever you want. Pyramid scheme, what is it? Well, a pyramid scheme is a fraudulent system where you make money by recruiting people, okay? The people who are brought into this business system put in a capital share, and the profit comes precisely from bringing in new members, okay? The new ones put in capital, and the old ones make money from bringing in the new ones with that paid-in share. This stuff is illegal. You go to jail for it. A Ponzi scheme, on the other hand, is similar but with one difference. It promises a return over time from an initial investment. This is also illegal. The return is paid by bringing in new people who put in a capital share. And this is also illegal. Network marketing, however, is nothing like that, and it's regulated by laws. There's a specific law. For example, in Italy, it's Law 173 of 2005 that regulates network marketing and direct sales, protecting it from these fraudulent systems. So watch out, guys, because besides losing money, you also risk criminal charges. It's illegal. But we have to know it. Network marketing effectively puts a product and a service on the market. The networker, if we want to call him that, because that's the definition, is not an investor. He's an independent sales representative who puts a product or a service on the market and builds his own commercial structure. Initially, the profit comes only from direct sales. Then it comes from both direct sales and the royalties he receives for creating his commercial structure. The ultimate goal of the network is to initially do direct sales. And then, once we've understood how direct sales are done, teach someone else to do the same thing we're doing. As I said before, network, net work. We work by building a network. And in that case, the company pays us out of its own pocket. We don't take anything from anyone. A percentage out of its pocket on the total turnover that our structure puts on the market. Okay? This is network marketing. It's nothing different from what we already know. Okay? One of the biggest fears of those who perhaps approach the network is selling. Okay? I'll tell you something very important. We effectively put a product on the market, but we are not salespeople. A salesperson is something else. What does that mean? That we don't wake up in the morning? The networker doesn't wake up in the morning with the intent of going to sell as many products as possible. That's not the goal. Effectively, as I said, we effectively put a product on the market. But the ultimate goal isn't just that. Learning to get 20, 25, 30 clients who maybe become consumers, which is also important, an aspect to understand. Otherwise, it's a disaster. If we don't understand this, I'll explain it later. And over time, learning to teach this stuff to other people. Getting 20, 25, 30 satisfied consumers of a product or service and teaching this to as many people as possible, thus creating a commercial structure. So he doesn't wake up in the morning with a briefcase in hand to try to get as many clients as possible, okay? But as I said before, he develops those 25, 30 satisfied consumers and teaches someone else to do the same thing. So why is it a problem if you have to constantly sell to people? Because it means your network company isn't putting a product or service on the market with the goal of creating a consumer, okay? What does that mean? That if you have to keep looking for new customers every day, let's take the silliest example in the world, a network. I don't know if it exists. I think it might have or does. A car sales network. But how many cars do you want to buy? Okay? Or how often can you change it? Consequently, this has to constantly push you to look for new customers. New customers, new customers, new customers. Not just you, but also the people in your organization. This leads to some frustration, okay? Because there, you actually have to be a salesperson. You have to go out and try to sell. When instead, you sell a product that makes the customer a consumer. Because a customer is someone who buys the first time. A consumer is that customer who, after buying the first time, buys a second, third, fourth, fifth time, and keeps buying over time because they need your product or your service. They're satisfied with it, they need it, it solved a problem for them, and as a result, they constantly reorder, okay? Do this for an X number of people who do the same thing you do, and you've built your financial freedom. That's why network marketing isn't sales. You're not a salesperson, but you still have to learn that little thing there, okay? That skill there. You have to learn it. Otherwise, you can't teach it to anyone. Another very important thing is understanding the right company, okay? Because if we want to get into a project that builds a financial stronghold for us and our family, we have to choose a company that has a project and the strength to support, well, the project for the next 20 to 30 years, okay? So a small company, guys, I understand all the enthusiasm of we're the first, but we're the first easily makes you fall flat on your butt. Okay? Because it's statistics, you can see it yourselves. Statistically speaking, most network companies don't survive the first few years, okay? So joining a company that has many years behind it is a little bit smarter, okay? Because you're doing it for yourselves, for your family. A company that's present in at least 70 or 80 countries in the world is stronger, more established. A company that turns over at least a couple of billion, not a few million, guys, a few billion, okay? It means the market is wide, it's big. It means that there are so many people who are looking for your product or your service. There is a need for what you want to put on the market. It is of fundamental importance. Then, if the company is public, even better, because being listed provides reliability and transparency. Everything the company declares is true, 100%. It can't talk bullshit, okay? So being listed on the stock exchange is a big deal, okay? Let's say these are the most important aspects of a network company, okay? And above all, very important, that it has real, actual offices in the country where it operates. Because if there is only one office and they pay you on a foreign card, watch out. No. The company must be resident in the country where it's selling that product and service and pay taxes in that country. This is important, okay? So once you know the characteristics a company should have, we can go looking. And above all, understand if our company can support us for the next 20, 25, 30 years. Because we have to build what is our financial freedom. So, having said that, everyone, let's take a moment to go over the key points you should keep in mind when you're choosing a company. These are really important factors that can help guide your decision and make sure you're making the best possible choice, okay? At least to understand if our company's the right one. Very often, there is that friend who calls us and invites us to an evening event because they have seen a fantastic project. And that friend is doing it with all the best intentions, okay? It is just that that friend does not know the parameters to check and brings us along into a project that is destined to fail. They did it with all their heart, okay? But they do not know that that project is destined to fail. And consequently, they drag down everyone they know. And it is not about being fooled, guys. It is not a matter of being fooled, because maybe the project is even nice, but it is the company that is not healthy, is not structured, does not have a real project, its product and its service do not have a market. If the product or service is not in demand by many people, it will not move forward. Then, especially if they have the characteristics of a pyramid system or a Ponzi scheme, because we mentioned them before, guys, it is important to know so you can try to get away as soon as possible. When you are invited to an evening where a business project is being discussed, and if this business project has all the characteristics of a pyramid system, Ponzi scheme, run away. If they promise you easy money, run away. If they promise you'll make a lot of money fast, run away. If they promise you'll earn 500 or 600 euros in the first month, that's true, right? You can easily make even 1,000 euros. But if they tell you that within a year you can change your life and you can buy your dream car, run away, guys. It is just not true. It is all inflated. It is all hyped up to try and create momentum in a fake way. Sooner or later, that stuff is going to burst. I think I've given you the definitions that are a little bit more both accurate, because they are accurate, but also a little bit, let's say, to give you the right direction so you can make the right choices. For anything else, if you have any questions about it, you can write them in the comments and I'll reply. Bye everyone, guys.